61, where we're tackling the continuation of custom pen colors for the pen tool. And let's verify that we're running on the various channels. All right, we're running on Restream. I think we're running on YouTube. Sweet. And we're running on Twitch. Are we running on Twitch? I'm not seeing it. Here we are. Excellent. All right, welcome. So I've done a little bit of refactoring. I've moved some of the generic changes into the master branch that we did, the generic refactoring, which was basically just refactoring the deselect command to remove this special handling inside the deselect function and moved it up into the actual action handling. And we refactored a small part in the pen where we moved these individual calls to app.act into a little queue system. So we got rid of some duplicated code and made a few things simpler. And then I just reapplied the changes back on top. Actually, I just copied the files back over. So now I've got to make sure there wasn't any minor changes that were extra here. And basically all we got to do right now is clean up some of the things regarding handling the colors because they're kind of all over the place. Hey, Mark. How are you? And then I want to do a first commit before I go too deep into it. So the first step will basically bring it, I think right now we want to bring up 9 color buttons. And I think after the first commit, we probably also want to look into toggling edge and center lines specifically, which we've talked about before. So first I'm going to, actually I probably should commit right now, and then the rest will be sort of changes on top of that commit. So let me just see. Oh, I thought this was committed already. Oh no, it's just a change with the I just added a comment there, and I kind of want that comment there. Line 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1. It's always the problem if you're pushing a change upstream and then you're kind of fiddling with that a little bit after. Let's see. And I think this was the same thing. We actually want this change. So line 90. 107 here. So we actually wanted this to initialize, otherwise this line was completely pointless. And that should remove this change. Yeah. So quick review what we have. Let me make this a little larger. We've added current and next pen color. This is basically that we can change the color multiple times, but only actually send one action when you're actually creating a pen action. So we're only sort of changing the pen color just before you're actually doing some sort of drawing, rather than multiple times. We're setting it when we're entering the tool. So, if you're opening a page, reloading or whatever, and just syncing the UI basically. We're listening to the buttons being pressed. We have a fixed palette here right now. And we're basically substituting the old system for drawing the hint lines with new colored lines. Made them a bit thicker. And then we're adding the pen color to the action stack, and that's basically it. And then the CSS is just making those 3 buttons appear, right? And then here we're currently hard coding the color palette. So that's the main thing I want to check. Pen toggle has been completely changed, so it's now 2 digits per pen mark, color plus type of pen marking. And we've added the color to the serialization of the board state for the replay optimizations. All right. So I think these should be fine. So added pen color selector. All right, so that's the first thing. So the second thing is, let's bring in multiple buttons and figure out how we're actually going to do the palette. So currently we've just had these 3, but we actually want 4, 5, 6. Nope. And 7, 8, 9. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And good for these. Now, one of the issues I have is these colors. Undo does change the current pen color. Does this work correctly with the UI color selector? I don't think so. But let's get, this is kind of fine-tuning stuff. Let's get everything up and running first, so I don't bounce around too much. Because one of the issues I have, I'm obviously preparing for color customization in the future, so I don't want to now hardcode more colors into more files, right? So let's have a look at what we did previously, because previously we've moved all the coloring out of this file, really. At least the in-game coloring. So these, for example, aren't really being used. So one of the things we could do is, instead of pushing the color through the drawing algorithm, we could set classes and then set the colors in the CSS. And then it'll be easier to kind of theme it down the line. And that's probably what we should be doing, right? So let's have a quick look at the pen drawing in the renderer. Oop. And I really need to break this file apart. It sometimes stutters when I open it. So, render pen. So instead of pushing the color through, I wonder if we can assign a class here. And currently this color is being generated in the... let's create a second copy of this file. This color is being generated inside the cell class directly when the cell is rendering. So render content, and it's basically inside the render function for the pen here. All right. So let's see. This is the color palette. So if instead of this, we have a class name, pen val. So if I add pen color dash color, right? And let's say I draw a line here. Actually, let's simplify this. We do this, this, and this. And now, make sure that I don't bring this too far down. Let's have a look. So, pen rendering here. These are the 3 objects, and what do we get? Do we get class names here? No, we do not. Why do we not get class names here? Class name here. In fact, even this class name isn't being set. So class name is not getting passed through. Class name. We're pulling it out. Let's have a look. What happens? So pass name gets sent through to render part. And this might get super spammy. Ooh. 1 sec. So attributes are these, right? So class name is not getting passed through here. Target, class name, path, type, path, attributes. Well, it's not in attributes. So class name here is just completely ignored. It should get passed through as attributes. I think if you do a set attribute on class name, I don't think that'll work. And on class, I think I might have to handle that completely separately. Yeah, I don't think that's working. Render part, attribute, class. So that doesn't work at all like that. How do I do it elsewhere? Because I'm pretty sure I'm passing class names. Or maybe it's always been broken because I know that's that stuff actually isn't really working very well. Let's have a look. Class name. Class name, attributes.class. No, it expects it as class. And I'm guessing that just doesn't work. And the music finished already? That seems strange. And it's supposed to repeat. Oh, it was set to repeat once. Okay, that's completely useless. So set attribute. CSS. Oh, set attribute class doesn't work. I know that you're supposed to be so I'm sure class name needs to be assigned differently, which is a bit of a pain in the butt. So not get element by class name, returns a node list matching elements, set attribute. Because I think class is not considered an attribute. It's not work when used with a style attribute. Alright, this is kind of small. But that doesn't seem to work either. Unless this, wherever we're doing the set attribute here, maybe it's not in there anymore. Fill stroke class. So it should have its class set at this point. Part. Class. There it is. Okay. How did I not see that before? Okay. So that class name is basically being ignored. But that's fine. If we do this, we should now have these in here. Right. So now, if we ignore... if we don't pass in stroke here, like that, okay, they're all the same color now. But now we can just color them here, I'm guessing. So this would just be path.pen color -1. And then we can use our color variables, which are here, SudokuPad colors. Okay. Pencil mark colors. Oh, except they're not defined here yet, because I've never actually extracted them. So I'm guessing they're still defined here. I'm not sure. One second. Overlay, grids, highlights, colors. Cell colors. It's these, isn't it? I thought I had already transferred them. Root, puzzle, Chrome, board, plugins, board UI, test. So if we create this, I need a label for these things. What do we call them? Cell, group, cell, colors. I have something on these lines already, but I have to be careful that I don't spend too much time looking at the past, which might not be functional. Because we have these. But I'm not sure if they're actually being used. Yeah. Ooh, maybe they are being used. Yeah. Oh, let's be careful here. Because they have a fill color here, but they also have... So they have this fill color. Because they don't actually have these classes assigned. Well, ultimately there will be one color palette, one way or another, right? I need to get it started somehow. The question is, I probably want to handle those in CSS because it'll make theming so much easier. So I think for now, where was I? Yes, for now, I'm gonna start with these colors. Ah, yeah, these were the updates from Franco. Gonna put them in here, and we'll just call them pen colors for now. Sure. Pen color -0, etc. Like this. I mean, the whole color thing is an ongoing concern, right? So I'm not gonna do this as part of this, but I don't want to make my future work harder. So now we have to obviously convert this to... No, wait. What do we need? We need... So we're gonna change this to puzzle dash pen color dash with a leading yada yada, right? And then we're gonna change this to colon RGBA, like that. Basically just removing the single quote. And then we're going to change this to with a semicolon at the end. And then these we can get rid of. I don't think they're actually valid or being used anywhere. I don't know if this means it's broken now. Did I break this file already? I'm not super familiar with the syntax of... Yes, I did. It needs to be this here. Not super familiar with the syntax of of CSS variables, right? Now this obviously won't do anything right now. I just want to make sure we don't get errors already. And now in the pen CSS, we want to change these to be these, right? Something like this. I think that's how the syntax works. Like that. Maybe. Actually, for now, we probably can afford to do that. Yeah, I guess that jives because it's, you know, the grays and all that. And yes, I know people don't like these colors. I want to get it set up and working, right? And then for these, we basically do the same thing here. So this becomes this. Now, the question is, I wish I could change the opacity. CSS variable color change opacity. I want to have the same color but a different opacity. Ooh. Custom properties. Can't take an existing color product. That's really stupid. I'm wondering if what I really should do is I should have the colors defined without alpha at all, kind of like this, and then apply the opacity to the entire element. Now that's not necessarily what you want usually, because an element might have borders, etc., etc. But you can work around this by having certain kinds of element nesting. Not sure how this one works. It's probably because of the transparency to get it to actually be black. So then I should be able to do this. You know, just copy them down. I think the dog is getting ready for something. Toby, why are you waiting at the door? Are you getting your wash now or are you getting your walkies now? You know something is coming. All right. And okay. All right. So now if I do this and that and this and that and this and that, it works. But these won't have the transparency, which is not necessarily good. Ooh, draw a line. Yeah, okay, so the hints are also need to be styled with these. And that's the other thing, right? The hints, we want the opacity also to be different. Another thing we could do is apply background color and stroke and then just have one set of colors and give these the classes and all that stuff. All right, let's have a look at the hint, line hinting here. So because here it's dipping into the color palette. So I do something like this, right? So I can draw the line, right? But can I apply a class name here? Something like this? Yes, I can. Let color class. All right, if I do this, and then do this, and then do this. Okay. But now, the hint line should have opacity applied to it, right? So if I get rid of this, and then here we'll do so what if we do this? Erase mode, pen color erase, else pen color yada yada, and then we can just do this, right? And pen color erase, which I now no longer know what it was. We'll set it up here. Let's have a look. What did I just delete from the code? Pen color erase mode. I believe this. Right? So now if I do this, we got the erase color. All right. Okay. And so we can get rid of this. We get rid of this. We don't have the color palette anymore. And the opacity needs to change. If we do something like this. What was the original opacity here? 0.8 for erasing and 0.5 for regular use. If I do this, will I be able to see through it? Yeah. And that's why it was 0.8 for erasing and 0.5 for well, we could man, we already have classes. Why can't I use them, right? Why can't I do this? 8. No, 0.5 for erase. And, whoops. That should be there. Let's move this down here so we can have both of these things on screen. If I do this, is that opacity going to be overridden? No. Right, so this is super faint, and this is also not great. So how did we have it before? Because I liked it how it was. So the erasing was 0.8, and the actual hinting was 0.5. So the erasing was very faint, which is fine, because you want to see where you're erasing. And the red glow is quite obvious. But when you're drawing a line, like, you need it to be quite distinct, especially when there's already a mess of lines on the screen, right? So I think this also should have pin color, but it should also have like a hint line. So it should be something like hint or pen hint plus, right? And then pen hint should have all the other stuff on there. So we'll do pen hint, and then we can actually put these other things on there as well. We can do stroke width 16, remove it from here. Value 1, I don't actually know where that comes from. Then we can do opacity 0.5 or 0.8, and then we can modify it for that. So the delete is now quite opaque, and the draw, well, wait. Wait, what? What's going on? Pen color erase. Pen color erase. Pen hint plus, oh. I'm thinking this is not doing that correctly anymore. Yeah, so this is much more opaque now, so it's clear to see. Now the grays are really not good for pen lines, right? Although, you know, black lines, maybe for a puzzle, you know, if you have a puzzle without a grid and you have a dash grid, then drawing black lines, you know, for like chaos construction might actually be really, really good. So, you know, don't wanna tell people what to do. And then deleting is faint. Yeah, I think that works. Now, why do I have row, column, and value on this line? Render pen. Oh, because value is... Wait. Does this make sense? Yes, it makes sense. Excuse me. Because... now I'm remembering how this works. Because we're only doing this once to actually create the element in the SVG. And once that element exists, we're actually modifying what it looks like, right? So we're using render pen, but in reality, actually we're wiping, right afterwards, we're removing everything that render pen did, and then we're generating our own path, right? So we're actually drawing a circle or a line or whatever. So these are really dummy elements. The question is, can I get rid of the render pen call altogether? And is that a better option? Does this do anything else for us? Because it does all this stuff, which we don't actually care about. And in the end, we're just doing a render pen. Yeah, we're basically just using it for some of this stuff, which in the end, none of it is actually being used. So we might actually get rid of that. So instead of doing a render pen call here, we might just do this. So we might just do a render part here. We have our target with our class name, type path, and then attributes. Yeah, class name we're not actually passing through. Excuse me. And attributes are basically this. Now, if this works, at least somewhat, yeah. So then we just need a few extra elements, excuse me, for this stuff. And we might as well put it in here now. So we don't have a fill, probably doesn't apply. Yeah, might apply actually. We don't need a stroke. The stroke width is actually set to 16. These are both round. All right. There's... Oh, comma. I was wondering about the syntax, the coloration. Yeah. So we have a purple line, and then we can erase it. And, you know, the hint line only applies to that. So then we're skipping that whole call to render pen. It makes it slightly more complex because we have these things in here. But in some ways, it also makes it simpler. We can get rid of all of this. We're gonna just inline that over here. Right. So the class is pen hint plus erase multiplying color erase, or this. And since we have this duplicated, we're just gonna put that there. And since we're already doing this, we might as well go all the way and do this. Erase mode. And color. And that'll just become this and this. And I think that's it. So basically the color just becomes erase, right? Excuse me. So once again, erasing, no, it doesn't work. Color class before, yeah, okay, fair enough. I just removed stuff there willy-nilly. Yep, and yep. Yep, and yep, okay. So that works actually pretty well. Now we have to test if this survives undo redo, you know. So one of the problems is, oh well, okay, because control hides actually, yeah. So undo redo doesn't change this, and it shouldn't, but it does change the color. Okay, so that's actually a problem. So we don't want the global color to be changed, but it does get changed by the actions. So we have to either have to change our color here. So that's a good question mark. If I'm undoing, let's say I've drawn a line in red, I changed to orange, I've drawn a line in orange. Now I undo the orange line. Do we want to change the UI to match the setting, or do you want to change the setting to match the UI? I think the setting should match the UI. I don't expect undo and redo to affect my settings in my UI, right? And it's a bit odd because, well, I want to say it's the first time we have a stateful UI, but we actually already have, which is our tool selection. This is just a secondary state within a tool, right? And to be honest, in the past, this is a feature actually I've talked about in the past, to have a painting mode, where instead of selecting cells and then pressing a button, you go into paint mode, you select a color, and then you paint the color, right? Similar to how you're currently drawing the lines. I guess it was the washing, because there's a wet dog running around. All right. So, to do that, we need to watch events. And we've done this before in other tools. It's a bit of a hacky thing, but we're basically just watching for actions, and we're just changing the color to match whatever the UI currently is, right? So, I think we've done that probably in a whole bunch of tools, right? Maybe in the letter tool. Actually, we're likely to have done this in an older tool. I remember this being done in an old tool. I think the selection, actually. So on the selection, or did I change that recently? Control select, handle toggle operation select mode. Control update keys, handle keys, selected term. Oh no, that's the multi-select node. No, actually, even older. When I added the blue cage, where does that actually happen? It's one of these like old places that aren't really well organized. Features maybe? Yeah. So we're basically just listening to the actions. I could, except it's already doing that. So that's actually a good point. Why isn't that working correctly? Because we're already doing this. So I guess it's because it's looking at current next pen color. So what it really should be looking at is... But the problem is it'll mean... Sorry, my brain is trying. Because it'll mean... Because I'm thinking, right? Instead of using current pen color stored in the tool, we can literally use the current pen color stored in the app. But that would mean it would insert additional actions that it might not have previously. But it has to, right? Because that tool, that value on the app, that global variable on the app for the pen color, that represents the actual state of the game engine, right? And the actions are always relative to that. So, in fact, let me test this, right? So if I... Oops. So let's say I draw a red line. Yeah, you see, it's actually green now. Because it... Yeah. So that actually might work, and it might kill two issues at once. So if I do this... and I'm also going to look at next pen color. But I'm also going to look at the app, the app.puzzle.pen color, right? Right. So if I refresh this, okay, so draw a green line, draw a red line, change to blue, undo. This is terrible. This is wrong. Okay. But now, drawing a blue line, current pen color is 7, next pen color is 9, pen color is 4. Okay. If I do undo, do this again, pen color is 4, but it thinks the previous or the current is 9. So what we could actually do is we could probably just get rid of current pen color altogether and substitute this, right? So we have app equals framework, puzzle equals app, and pen color equals puzzle, right? So current pen color doesn't exist anymore. So if it's not equal to this, boom. And then we never actually do that. Because we expect this to update. Now, there's one issue is if this is out of sync with the action execution. But I don't think that'll ever happen because I'm thinking, okay, what if I fire this off? The actions are not executed yet, and then we're firing this off again because, you know, we're drawing lines programmatically, for example, right? Well, we'll see. Let's see. Okay, so it's purple, it's orange, it's blue. Now I do undo, and I draw blue again, and it's blue. I undo twice, I draw blue again, and it's blue. So pen color was 5, 6, 6, 6, 9. But now let's say if I draw something else, pen color should have been 9, yes. So I think that will fix it. The pen tool should know its current UI setting, yeah. So the nice thing about this is we don't care really what the state of the puzzle is. We just care what the state of the UI is, because the UI wins, right? That's what the user sees. So if right now the UI will reset, but we don't care because it'll do the right thing. So now persisting the UI is of course the other thing, right? We've done a bunch of tool persisting things, and I think they're baked into the framework. So I think I'm just going to look at something for reference. I think the selection tool we just looked at does that. So if I toggle this and toggle this, 1, 2, wait for it to persist and okay, so this one doesn't actually persist. Ooh, this hover looks broken. Is that correct? No, this is not correct. Oh wait, if it's selected. Oh no, that's correct. Okay, it looks broken. And it should be changed, but it is not something I have just broken. So we've definitely done persistence. Selection, cage. I'm just, you know, I wish somebody would write some documentation for this thing. What a lazy developer. Maybe that should be that should be a page. Oops, what happened? No. I'm worried I pressed buttons. That should be a Patreon goal. Documentation, internal documentation. Actually, Mark, by the way, I'm looking to do some proper like Patreon exclusive stuff, and I think, I mean, part of it will be, why is it not doing code for anyone? Part of it will be access to beta versions, not just alpha. Sorry, alpha version, not just beta. So there will be another level of early access, and that will be for a password protected area. But part of it could also be things like documentation, internal APIs, and things like that. One second. All right. So Simon's sending messages. Just checking chat. Okay. So what was I doing? Oh yeah, framework. We have a place where we can save settings. So tool letter, yeah. So I guess this would be it. So pen tool, clip, click, clip, what? All right. Set pen color. Framework set setting, pen color. Next pen color. And I think I'm just going to change this to pen color because next pen color is just unnecessary. All right. So set pen color, that's pen color. I don't like the look of underscore, but I think that's what I've been doing it. How I've been doing it with the others. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it like that. This also means whenever we enter the tool, so we should do get setting, right? Probably spell it right. No, it's not get setting, really? I'm pretty sure it's get setting. Get setting. That's a little concerning that I seem to be setting that setting, but I'm never getting that setting. I should be debugging something else while I'm working on this feature. Tool letter mode. Set setting. Valid modes include frame setting. Init. Tool letter mode. Default mode. Settings. Tool letter mode. Set settings. Init. Tool letter mode. Ah, wait a second. I think set setting and get setting actually refers to... Oh, okay. It's just make sure it sets a default value. Okay. All right, that's fine. So the set setting actually happens, but the get setting actually happens here when we're... Well, wait a second. It's not being called anywhere. I'm just assuming what really happens with get setting is... sorry, what the set setting does, it's setting the settings relative to the settings dialog, not a individual setting, right? So the set setting of the mode, the two letter mode, this actually, yeah, okay, this just initializes the default. There's probably a better way of doing it. That doesn't answer the question though, if there's another thing I could use. Yeah, there's the tool, the current tool. Control tools. Ah, get data and set data. I think that's it, not set setting. Okay. I'm curious how they're different. Oh, because set setting pushes it into the JSON object while get data and set data is low level. All right. So we need set data. That's the one we're really looking for. So something like this, right? Okay, so not set setting, but set data. Get setting. No. Get data. I confuse myself. So now the question is, so that's groups closed. Okay, so that's how we're using, we're storing which groups are open and closed in the settings dialog. Hexagon startup. This was something. Oh man, if I don't remember what that was for. I feel like I should know. Okay, so here now we have something like the two letter mode. So then I should then have tool pen and color, similar to the two letter mode. Well, I think there's only one color, and I think there'll always only be one color. So I don't think we'll have to worry too much about that. Now that I think I deliberately didn't persist this. The problem is when you're refreshing the page. That's really the only time, because it's not something you want to keep from one session to the next. It's something you're toggling briefly back and forth. And you don't refresh on mobile that often, so I think that's why I never persisted that. All right. But get data, how do we use it? That's, okay, so get data, yada yada. So we'll take this, that, or 1. Now, what I don't like about this is if it comes back with a 0 string. No, that works. Okay. So. Handle to enter. And what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to output it before and after, because I want to see if there's any times where that changes. If I go here, if I change this, go here and refresh, and then I go here, it changed it to 5. So if I change it to 9, I go here, I refresh, and then go here, it's at 9. Refresh at 9, refresh. Okay. Now if I draw, undo, refresh, it's still on blue. Okay, I think that's the behavior we want. All right. Yeah, I think the functionality is coming together. Let's clean up any kind of mess we left behind. So we've renamed next to pen color, yada, yada, yada. I didn't save this. I think the color palette is gone. So this is it's much simpler now. I'm tempted to make this a 2-liner, because these are almost not important at all. And I'll just put that there. Yeah. Okay, what else do we got? We got the puzzle and the pen color up here. I think I'm just gonna do this. I think I'm just gonna do that. I'm a bit wary about storing this globally in script, but I don't see a way around it, especially since that's where the serialization happens. So in the future, I think the tools need to have an API, and that API I should design one of these days, because it means like serialization, deserialization should be a callback into the tool. So in the tool, there should be on serialize, just how there's handle input, right? Handle serialize, handle deserialize. So let's say if we find serialize and not, yeah. So for example, create state. This creates state used in more than one place. I'm curious why I made that separate. Here, because we're not we're not stringifying them here. I guess I did that so I wouldn't have to have the cost of stringifying all the time when it's just in memory. Just have to be careful that none of these are references. Yeah, in fact, it still has to serialize the cells, which is probably the most expensive operation anyways. Yeah, but basically this object should get passed into the tools or into the plugins, and then the plugins can modify this. And deserialize should do the same thing. So this function actually didn't change, but apply state I imagine changed. Yeah. So probably what we want to do is the pen color does that make a difference for the cells? No. So pen tool. I'm gonna do it like this, because and I think I'm gonna make this as well. So let state equals. I'm gonna do it like this. So in the future, it'll make it easier to pass this object into functions, into handlers of each of the tools. So state dot pen color equals this dot pen color. And then this is sort of core stuff, and then each tool will have its own little thing here. Ah, I'm so tempted to do it right now. How hard would that be to do this right now? What did we call it? Exit something. Exec tool handlers or something. Handle tool event forwarding. Is that it? Handle tool event forwarding. The problem is this. Ah, wait a second. Port event false is the default. In reality, though, all we're doing is returning. So if we replace this with okay, sorry, because so far the API basically says return true if we don't want execution to continue and return false otherwise. But if we if we just say instead of returning false we return undefined, right? Then this doesn't actually make any judgment call on what the result means. So it's literally just returning the result. So if I just do this, right? Then I don't think I'm affecting existing functionality in any way. But now I can actually use the same thing, the same mechanism for updating the serialization state. So, and we probably want to rename them. Create state applies. Well, create state and apply state actually aren't too dumb if I compare, because we're not actually serializing, right? Because we're not converting to a string. So what if, but wait a second, we're in the puzzle here, and that one is, that one is a lower level, or a higher level, right? So I was thinking, like, if I could call the same mechanism, handle tool event forwarding. Where is this being called? This is, I think this is specifically being called in certain places, right? All right, let's just try it. Let's have a look at how it's being used. So for example, this is how these get forwarded, right? So what if I do, instead of this, I do, I think puzzle has a reference to app. Yeah. My dependencies are really bad here, so don't judge me, please. But if I do this.app.handle tool event forwarding, and then I'll say create state, and then instead of event, let res equals. So if I do this, and I'm a little more careful here, and I pass state in, right, and I can also do this before and after, something like this. Oops, 3912. 3912. I probably hit a key or something. All right. Refresh, restart, refresh. So if I now say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, Yeah, too many actions per state. Let's try this again. Clear, restart, boom. So 1, 2, res is undefined. Okay, but, and hear me out on this one. If I do event name, handle event name. That's why I was capitalizing it. So if I do create state like this, right? And then inside our tool pen, we'll do handle create state, return result, and inside here, we're just going to log this out. And what does that look like? It does come through. And if we return... Yeah, okay, so the whole point is to extract as much of that pen-related code from a script. So if I do this and then do this, and now I'm wondering, where is this being used? Is it really only being used in these two places? Because I thought I was going to use it for drawing, but now I'm not sure if I am. I'm setting it in the here, but I don't actually like. I might only have to put it into the action list, but I might not actually have to process it at all. Toggle pen. Toggle pen. Toggle pen. Toggle pen. Clear pen. Toggle pen. Toggle pen. It tries to initialize the pen color when it's not given. And I think this is basically for backwards compatibility. So if we're loading in data, that it uses the current pen color. I get why I'm doing this, but at the same time, this is also supposed to be in the pen tool, right? So if I move this code into the pen tool, you know, I think I can access the pen tool from here. If I do this, right? Yeah. So if color equals undefined, then what we can do is if this.app.tools.pen color equals let pen tool equals, so if pen tool color equals pen tool.pen color, and if color equals undefined, color equals 1. So if we're doing this, now we basically have no more references to underscore pen color anywhere in the tool itself, in the main script. Sorry if I'm not being super what's the word? Yeah, that I'm not super with the words and stuff, because I'm trying to do something a little bit dodgy, but I'm also trying to do something less dodgy than what I'm currently doing. So this becomes a no-op. Again, this eventually should go into the tool. Like each tool should be able to add actions, and then action processing should happen in code provided by the tool, right? So I want to create a sort of a language parser that's completely extensible and customizable, right? But now that means we no longer want to do that. We no longer want to use pen tool from here, pen color. We want to use this.pen color, right? So now, very short, right? I'll do 1, 2, boom. So pen color gets assigned here. I'm not using that. Where's that happening now? Create state. So I should be able to do handle tool event forwarding. The only problem with this is I think handle tool event forwarding right now only does it for the current tool. When in reality we want to... No, wait, it does it for all tools, doesn't it? Yeah, it does it for all tools. Okay, that's perfect. Actually, that's kind of exactly what we want. It makes it a little bit more expensive to do the states, but then we're only doing them every 100 actions or so, which I think is okay. There's a reason for that, right? So now I can get rid of all of this. So this is now super generic. Yeah. Just doing this. Okay. And then we'll do the same thing with apply state. So we're going to handle tool event forwarding. So this becomes apply state. And it just needs to know what it needs to do. Like that. So now in the tool, we also have handle apply state. Like this. So we have apply state. Handle create state. Boom, boom, boom. And then if I do undo, handle apply state. Undo. Undo, undo. Yeah. So now here, we basically just have to read out the pen color. Now the only problem is we don't actually want to change the color when we're applying the state. So now we need to actually draw with the correct color. We kind of yes, and we shoot. Okay, I'm kind of because I need two variables, right? And now I'm overwriting the one variable I have. So I need to go back to having two variables, right? I need to have a UI state and a so orange 1, 2, 3, blue 1, 2, 3. Now undo, 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 redo, 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 redo. So they would get defaulted here and all sorts of things, right? Also, they seem to be depending on these being strings and whatnot. All right, let me think about this. So, yeah, we got rid of this. Pen color palette, we got rid of that. Yeah. This we don't need. We don't want. Yeah, because we don't want to be color dependent here. So we actually need these separately. So let lm name equals this. And I'm wondering if that's actually causing some of the bugs that I just saw. Right. I hope I'm not using class name for anything else here. I mean, here it's okay. It doesn't actually matter because it's actually removing all of them. It's already okay. I think this is fine because we're only matching by cell pen, right? We don't care about the rest. All right, so that's something we've done handled previously. Okay, 1 second, let me see. Mark, are you still around? I think my rambling has also bored you to death by now. Let's see. So we need an operational color and we need a UI color. So we need a current and a next. So I'll do current, next. So then, and then instead of next, I hate the naming, but it makes sense. So the state we're saving, should that be current or next? Because next hasn't necessarily been set yet, right? And the moment we're setting it, current will be updated, right? So we don't want to actually store next in here. We want to store current, right? And then current color state.pen color. Actually, no. Yes, because we need it for rendering. But yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine, right? And then next color, which is going to replace pen color, right? Next color, next color, next color. Find pen color. So set pen color, this dot next color. This no longer a thing. If this dot next color is not equals to this dot current color, then this yada yada yada, and we update current color. Like that. And then pen color no longer exists in that code. So reset. Yeah, basically, bad names, but basically, current color is the color it's using internally. So that's what the engine actually sees and uses. And the next color is what the user wants to use. So the next time you draw a line, next color is being used. Because we need two variables. We need the variable that the UI is on, but we also need the internal variable that's being used in the state system. So as we're saving and restoring states, it's updating current color, but it's not updating next color, right? So let's say we have 3 states, right? In the first state, the pen color was green. In the second state was red. In the third state, it was blue. But current color is, let's say, magenta, right? So as I'm undoing and redoing, it updates current color and draws with those, colors. But it doesn't update UI color. And then the next time I click and draw something, current color gets updated to next color. All right. Yeah, you're right. I've confused myself 3 times already. It's time to fix that. But I'm not gonna do it manually. So current color is pen. Pen. I'm just gonna call it pen color and UI color. Pen state color. Because it's not just state color. Because it's used by the actions and stuff as well. Is it though? 1 second. Where is it actually being used? The real problem is that I never implemented complex actions, because right now it's such a mess where each pen stroke is like a million tiny actions. It's like assembly, right? In reality, the pen action should just say which cells, what color, what thing, right? But yeah. But you're right, it should be pen state color, because it's not just the state, it's literally state. It's the global state of the current pen, which is modified by the action list, right? So I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna replace this one, next color, with pen. Instead of UI color, shall we call it current or selected? Yeah, UI. Let's call it UI because it's super explicit. And explicit is usually better than vague, right? So, just review now. The state color gets deserialized and serialized. The state color if the pen UI color is different than the state color, we are actually sending an action every time we want to draw something to update the color to the UI color, and we update the pen state color to the pen UI color, right? Now the only thing left is to actually use those colors wherever colors are being used, right? So are we using pen color anywhere here? Pen tool dot pen color. So this would be the pen state color. And I'm almost tempted to make a simple API get color, you know, pen tool get current color or whatever. Because that then could also do this stuff. Actually, this should be in here. And somewhere along the lines, these should be strings rather than numbers. I think there might be a problem with them being mixed types. All right, so purple, orange, red, yellow, blue, green. We change to black, we undo, and there was a color change. Yeah, so it's already lost the colors. Yeah, selected color I like better actually. Instead of pen UI color, I'm going to change that. How many times are we going to change this? Selected color. Yeah. Only used when the pen action has no color. It is only used when a pen action has no color. Yeah. No, not really. It should be used for the drawing as well, right? Because think of it this way, right? We're running through the action list. Let's say we're replaying, we're reloading something, right? We're running through the action list. There's an action to change color. What does that actually do? Right now, it doesn't do anything. Yeah, that's the problem. That's why, yeah, because I removed the code that actually did something when we encounter a pen color action, right? I changed this code, so that's bad. So what we really want here is, the only thing I don't like about it is that the puzzle object has to talk to the app object to get the tool. That's the only thing I don't like about it. The API here is a bit crappy. But I don't want to modify the API as part of this update. But it's definitely something to keep in mind for when I do clean up this API, right? So what we really want is this.app.tools.pen, pen tool, if pen tool, color equals, or whatever. And yeah, let's get rid of this. Let's use set color. But we do have two different colors. It's just what I just did. All the renaming in here, I don't want to have to do that on the outside as well. Because we have set pen color, but I think set pen color actually is set selected color, right? Set selected color. And I'm going to get rid of pen as well, since we are in the pen tool. There are no other colors than pen colors, right? So this is pen state color. It's going to get replaced with state color. And pen selected color is going to get replaced with just selected color. And now we're going to get instead of set pen color, shit color. My brain. I'm glad we're spending the time on the really important stuff. So now we have a set selected color. So there should be a set pen color, which we're going to change to set selected color. But now we're also going to get a set state color. And I'm gonna actually output these so I can track what's going on here. And we're gonna do that same thing for the selected color. Because now, from the outside, we're only gonna call set state color. We're not gonna call or update these variables directly. And it's gonna make me feel slightly better. So, set state color, arg. And the other place where we're doing this, we're getting the color. So I don't like setters and getters. Most of the time, they're not a good idea. But in this case, when I'm building an API, yeah. I'm just going to return that. Java people rejoice, vindicated. So here we're going to do get state color. And let's see if the whole thing is just broken now. So clear it. Back up, back up, back up, back up, back up. Go forward, 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 forward. We're still doing black. Back up, back up. Forward, 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 forward. Back up, back up, back up, back up. Refresh. Back up, back up, back up. Wait for it to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Refresh. Forward, 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 forward. It lost the black. Back, 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 back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Refresh. Forward, 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 forward. Yeah. All right, it's all there. So that looks actually pretty good. It looks pretty robust. Not that that means it's not buggy. Not even in the slightest. So I'm gonna do that. Set state color. Yeah, we got that here. The get color is gone. So set state color is what's gonna get called a lot from the undo system. Why does it get to undefined here? That's the question. So that means in these places, state color was undefined. And the only place where I can imagine where state color is being set. So this should actually be now set state color like that. Let's just clean this up a little bit. Okay. And we're gonna run that through our little API. Let's be consistent. So, what does this look like? Where do the undefineds creep in? So set state color undefined. Excuse me. All right, so this means there was a state without a color in it. Let's turn these to warns. Actually, let's put the warn in set state color. State color. So we get a stack trace here. So where was the first undefined? The first undefined was here. Set state color. Now the apply state, this thing doesn't work. So we gotta do it this way. So when undefined comes in, pen color is 3. Because I Change the capitalization halfway through. I'm surprised it worked as well. That there were no visual errors. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Create state? No. It doesn't do that. Okay. And why is the last one missing? Oops. Maybe the last one didn't come through yet. Oh, the current color is not set. There it is. But if I do this, also this icon is broken. Why is this icon broken? Alright, I broke a bunch of things here, but the mechanism seems to work much better now than before. I probably have a class on this somehow that screws with it. Where does this icon come from? One sec. The pen tool icon is broken. How did I even do that? They're in here. I see. Oh. State color. What? Stroke state color. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. No. Stroke state color. The string state color somehow got into the icon. I did a global search and replace, didn't I? God damn it. Oh. Yeah. Current color is a variable in CSS, in SVG CSS at least. Yeah, we can't change that. Okay, alright, mystery solved. Okay, so I know people aren't super happy with the colors, and I'm not personally a big fan of them either, but I'd rather get it out in the current state and then start fiddling with the colors at another time. The only thing I don't like is that we don't have the actual dark green from before. So maybe we should actually tune that green. And it probably doesn't make sense to have the grays as the initial colors. So what I'm probably gonna do, I'm probably gonna just, I mean, we can't start over, right? We're not bound to how things are. So if we move the grays down like this, actually we get rid of the 0, then move the grays down like that. Renumber these. So that should look like this. And now the default is green. And now let's make that green the old green, right? If we can still find it in here somewhere. I think it was this. That looks quite dark. So if we now change this green to the old pen green, then at least this color is exactly what people are used to. And I think I took that color from Penpa. So let's see, mode. I don't know. No. I don't know. Settings. Dark. All right. See you guys later. I'm guessing there's something up here that decides what tools are available. Line. Oh, this looks different than it used to be. Edge, diagonal, hop, erase. So if I do edge. Okay, why is this so small? Line. And so you can actually enable and disable all these tools one by one, I'm guessing. Number, normal, wall. How does wall work? Oh, it's across the center. Instead of from center to center, it's Edge to edge. Ah, that's actually one type of line that I don't currently support. Interesting. Well, I have the X markings for that. Surface. Check all. Surface. Okay, line. Ah, but they actually have multiple colored lines here as well. Oh, I didn't even know that. Okay. Let's see. Actually, our red isn't too bad. What about the blue? Our blue is kind of light. Although it's not too bad. It's a little tricky to see. Also, I think there's... What is the opacity for the normal lines now? I think they're fully opaque. I'm not sure if that's what we want. Enough contrast. I mean, there's no way of doing this properly. Yeah, for example, this might be a problem, right? The problem is lines and arrows will never like work well together, because I don't know what size the arrows would be. But I think the lines should never be 100% opaque, basically for this kind of reason. So it makes it more messy, but it doesn't make it impossible to play certain things. So, what we did with... Oh, not Sudoku colors. What we did with the pen colors... Tool pen CSS. Down here. Yeah, I mean, the yellow we could probably just make a bit darker. So if we go... Can I not edit this color directly? Oh, that sucks. Is there some way of editing colors in the inspector? Chrome inspector color variables. Is there a way of getting a color picker? Because here it has that. Oh, because I'm not on the actual colored element. Button. Before. Why is this different from this? Background color. And here, background color var. Control button BG. It doesn't give me a color picker here, but it does for this one. How? How is this different? 87, SudokuPad colors, 87. Is it because it's in the same file? And it's not accurate either. Color? This is... Huh? That's not what line 87 looks... Oh, because we're not in the right file. My bad. 87. Okay. And... background. And... Ah, that's the other question. Do we actually want these colors in the color CSS, or should they be in the pen CSS? That's actually not super clear, if I'm perfectly honest. That's something to consider. But I still don't understand why these work, but these don't. So here I'm getting the color picker option, and here I'm not. Is this really just the syntax used? So pen color 4, if I change this to be hash ff00ff, for example, will I then get a color picker? No. I'm guessing it's because it's not in the same file. Well, that's really, really annoying, which means I have to do this grab this color. Now I can modify it. Gee, thanks, right? RGB, hue, saturation, luminance. So we'll make it darker. So maybe 50. Maybe 40. We're saturated a little bit more because it gets a bit murky when we're reducing the luminance. And maybe we modify the hue a little bit towards the red. 56. Or towards the orange, I guess. Just to give it a darker, deeper feel. I seem to be going the wrong way. Yeah, 50, 40. Just without going too close to the orange. In fact, we're already really close to the orange. I mean, there's no such thing as a dark yellow, is there? Hey, Jovato, how are you? I'm trying to make a dark yellow without making it a murky mess. And without making it an orange. How about this? So this would be 153, 127, and 0 blue. Ugh. Okay, that's just awful. Let's go a bit higher. Still pretty awful. 180. Oh, no, it's green. 223. It's very close to the orange now, isn't it? Yeah. What if we do something like this? I mean, it's definitely distinct. Not pretty. And might still be a bit too bright. But get it down this way. It's too green. Get this one down. It's not terrible. It's visible. It's not pretty. Gold. Yeah. Easier said than done. Gold isn't really a color, is it? It's almost darker than the orange, to be honest. And the orange is actually a very nice color. I tuned that with help from a person with vision problems. If I just up this relative to that, would it be distinct from the orange? Basically, I should start with this and then make it more yellow. So the orange is orange because it has more red. So if I reduce the red and increase this guy, while keeping the overall values similar, it's not too bad. It's a little bit on the green side. If I get the green down just a little bit. I mean, what does a yellow that's the same brightness as orange look like even? Well, anyway, it's easier to see against the white, so, you know. Light gray, yeah, we don't need light gray. But I don't want to go too crazy on these colors either. This is something, you know, this tool's got to go out first in a sort of experimental fashion. The other thing we wanted to look at is toggling between line modes. So there's a couple of options. I have space for 3 buttons, so I could put just how these are basically toggle buttons for the colors. I could have 3 buttons for universal mode, one mode or the other, but I don't actually like that. I have a control for toggles, this one, but that only has 2 states, and we kind of need 3 states, right? We need edge and center lines, edge lines only, center lines only, right? Now, here we have a drop-down list for selection, but for settings that's fine. For something you might want to change more often, although it's probably not something you change very often, right? It's more like something you change once per puzzle. It's just the drop-down is not a nice control down here. I could have all 3. Yeah, I was thinking I could have all 3 and then just have basically radio controls. Let me think. I think this was the text box. Should we put all the color stuff down there? Oh, wait. We've only up... No, wait. That's fine. That's fine. These are the... because the colors are defined at the top. Okay. If I move this down here, what do I get? Okay, I get a box that fills the whole thing. Now, in the replay tool, we've got a box that takes up some of the space. So we should be able to use that as a reference. So I'm just changing the REM values here. So if I put 30 rem at the top, it comes down there. The problem is, because we don't actually want to do that. Okay. Now the problem is, I don't think we can actually put, we can't put functional HTML in here. Like, we can't do this. I don't think we can. So we can't use CSS to inject HTML. So that's actually not a good thing to do. We need to do this differently. I could go crazy and reuse the existing buttons. Wait, how does the letter mode do it? The letter mode is already doing this kind of thing, right? The letter mode is injecting additional HTML buttons somehow, right? Toggle mode. Init done. Init done. Enable disable. Oh, we're doing this whole thing, huh? I mean, it'll be a little bit easier than this because we only have to do it inside handle, where is it? Handle toggle? No. Handle tool enter. Is tool with letters. So we're basically calling enable disable. DD is ugly. DD is ugly. The DD is ugly. What do you mean the DD is ugly? What's the DD? Oh, drop down. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to have a radio control. It's just that I don't have a good mechanism for adding and removing them, and I've done it sort of manually the hard way for the letter tool. So I probably have to do this. So first of all, let's hide this thing again. I mean, we'll have to style it in CSS then, but for now, I'm just going to use this as a reference. And then here, tool exit. Do we have to do anything for tool exit? Because here, I don't think on tool exit we're actually doing anything. Handle tool enter. This tool with that enable disable. Enable disable. It's like changing the tool already automatically removes all that stuff. So right now, we don't have a letter tool, right? So I enable the letter tool. So we have an extra button here. We're switching to something that doesn't. So the enable disable stuff kicks in properly, right? First of all, let's get rid of this spam here. I think we don't need that anymore right now. But I also want to look at in the letter tool. We have an enable and disable, right? And is disable getting fired when we are leaving? So enable, disable. So it does get fired. But from where? So enable, disable. Disable gets fired from handle tool enter. Oh, because handle tool enter happens every time. Fix the selection display during undo. Don't think this is a thing that's happening anymore. So handle tool enter happens even if it's not this is not the tool. Which is a bit strange. I have this active thing here. Oh, okay, because this works differently. Because this is not... because this is isTool true, and I think because this is isTool false... I think it is isTool false, right? Yeah, so because it's isTool false, these actually get called no matter what tool you're in. Okay, all right. That makes actually things easier. Because then we have enter and exit, and then on enter we just have to go do it the hard way, you know, insert all these things and objects and whatnot. Button delete, toggle letter, insert before button delete. Okay, so here we're basically inserting inside the container for the buttons. So we either use the last button row and put things in there, or we're putting it inside controls input. Now the last button row here is not made invisible. It's just the buttons inside of it. Opacity 0. And why is it like that? Delete. Where are these connected like that? That's so strange. If I change... Oh, because it's... Oh yeah, okay, I'm not... Okay, all right, got it. So... we might as well look, put it in the button row, I guess. This is gonna be a little bit more involved than I would like. So, controls, input. So, what we want is tool, pen. We want button row last. CSS selector last child. So I think we can just do toolpen dot button row last child. Something like that, maybe. So if we go from here and then go here, we should get the last row. Okay. All right. Let's get rid of some of this stuff now. And then here, we're doing a create element, and then we're inserting in here. All right. So that row. So I don't know if inserting in there is enough because the buttons inside of it are still there and they're just invisible, right? But let's see if we can use CSS styling. Probably with positioning we can do it, right? So we should be able to now do something like framework.create. Whoops, I'm trying to get to the other file. Something like this. And at this point, it would be so much easier to just inject the HTML, to be honest. But let's try it like this. So parent is this. Tag, well, no tag. It's just going to be a div, and it's going to have children. Children will be an array. I think we can just do this. So, and the children, I haven't done radio buttons in so long. I'm gonna look it up. See this HTML radio input type radio. So we need 3 inputs. We need some labels. Do we want the whole thing in a div? Isn't there a radio group or something? radio group, something like that. Radio group. Man, I remember there used to be some nice semantic stuff. And that's not like I don't need a form really. All right, let's just do that then. So type input. And I don't know actually how to set type. Ah, that sucks. Is that something my thing doesn't support, my framework? Because that would be a bit silly. Create element. Because I'm hijacking type. Type. Tag. Tag. Extra props. Children tag. Their action options. So tag comes out of there. But what about type? Can I pass type through? Maybe I can. I'll just try it, right? So we'll do tag input type radio name option A value option A, something like that, right? We'll just do 2 of them. That works. We'll just use that and then we'll just style the hell out of them. We'll do a bit of good old HTML, JavaScript. Okay. I think the text next to them we have to manage ourselves. Oh man, this must be really old because none of this is very... it's not as old as I had hoped. Radio group, single row. So we probably want to wrap these into our label, right? So we're going to do label, children, one of these guys, right? And children. And then how do we apply text? Content, label, A. Done labels before. Problem is I want the radio on the left side. And I think the text content gets added first. Shoot. So we'd have to add the text content as a span, I guess. Span. Something like this. I mean, it's fine. Ooh. Not fine. It's terrible. It's fine. Still work? Yeah. So we have 3 options, right? The options are... And to be honest, I think I want to just generate this thing. So we're going to generate this out of our 3 options, which are... So one option is edge lines, center lines, any lines. Right? Does that make sense? And then we'll map these. We'll map these to this thing, where the label content is the name is the name, and the value is the name. Something like that. And something like that. Okay. And the whole thing, we're gonna put in a class called pen line type. Line type. And now we can proceed to style this little thing. It's gonna be a little bit of a pain in the butt, but it's gonna be all right. So line type, the labels are gonna be display block. And I'm a bit worried about yeah, the positioning, the spacing, all of this is a little bit suspect. Position, absolute. Yeah, is it too small? I'm starting to think this is too small. To squeeze 3 items in a 1 button height is too small. Yeah, especially for touch. So 3 buttons wide, it would be perfect to have 3 toggle buttons. Then the challenge would be to have icons that represent those lines well enough. Basically, we'd need an icon that's a square representing a cell, and then a line on the edge, or a square with a line through the middle, with the dashed lines around. Yeah, I don't like this. This is not going anywhere good, and it's gonna be a lot of work just to make it look crap, basically. And I don't like that at all. I don't like doing a lot of work to do something that's not good. Yeah. Let me see. The drop downs we're doing here. Can we just use one of those? Yeah, we can probably just use one of these multi guys, right? So something like that. Yeah, and then I can always worry about that later. Because I'm thinking, you know, 3 icons toggling, but it would be interesting to have a control where it moves between them. But the hard thing is then actually make icons that represent that thing well. So, you know. So let's see. Class, penline type, yada yada yada. And then we'll just start here. Name, don't need. Content, letter tool hotkey. I think this would be the label. Yeah. So our options would be both edge only, center only. Now probably center only. Probably want to swap these. All lines, center only, edge only. Yeah, thanks for bringing me back to a sane spot for a moment here, because I was rapidly spiraling out of control there. All right, I don't think we need this. If we do this, it's not great. It is not great, but we can potentially style that back into sanity. Oh, because the multi thing is, it's designed for the settings dialog, and it doesn't let me override the class, so I don't actually want to use that. So we're gonna have to build our own here quickly. So this is actually a select tag like that. Won't have a label. Be fine. We'll be all right. And then these will be tag option. And these won't be options, these will be children. Yeah, I think obviously my create element is super simplistic. It's not really a HTML building toolkit, you know. All right, then if we just style it up, make this a little bit bigger. The options are actually a good size for touch controls. So if I look at this, come on. If I look at this, min height, padding, all lines, open up. How are these styled? God damn it. Chrome inspector drop down. Inspecting drop down menus in new Chrome. How do you do that? Should close all open tabs, search tab before you press F8 window. Press F8. So hover over the element and then press F8. Huh? What? Messed up. They put it on DOM changeable flash drop and change the element. But now I can inspect the hovered object. Yeah, I don't think this is working. Later after pressing F8, the hovered often is and then stops the execution. It's incredibly frustrating. Then the menu element type, I ran into this. Blur focus out and it's always triggered. Range inspect elements. Settings. Emulate a focus page. Ah, wait a second. So settings. Emulate a focused page. Where am I looking for this? Emulate. DevTools. Wait. Settings. There's no settings here anymore. Guess all of that stuff is super old. All right, let's not get held up on this again. Well, the thing is, the sizes are kind of important, right? Because this is terrible. So pen line type, position, absolute line height, 1.3 RAM. Font size. Because the thing is, these are actually styled. I just would like to replicate those stylings. And somehow they're styled quite large. The problem is I can't actually inspect them because the inspector won't let me inspect the thing that is actually displaying on the screen. Because that would be, you know, useful. Like, I just want to inspect this. Can I? No. No, that's not what I pressed. So this one is Control-Shift-C. So Control-Shift-C. Yeah, the moment I press Control-Shift-C, it puts away the thing I want to click on. Not super helpful. Really, really not. Can I just hover? Focus, active. Nope, none of them work. Active, focus, hover. Nope. Ah, this is so annoying sometimes. These are like, you'd think that's just basic things. You'd think that somebody creating this tool would once in their lifetime actually look on a thing, like try to inspect, you know, once each of the HTML elements and realize, oh, wait, it doesn't work most of the time. So why are these so huge? That's what I'd like to know. Now, it's styled probably, but how? God knows. Is there option anywhere? Option. Not options. Option. Just option. Nope. No option. All right. Can I? Because you see here, the styling for this is the same as the styling that's inside. But somehow on the outside, they're styled differently. Sorry, outside of the settings dialog, the label is differently styled from the rest. While here they're the same. So I'd like to know how that happens. Setting item. Is that it? Font size 1.2. Because these are very big here. So, but I'd like to inspect them. God damn it. All right, let me try again. Chrome, how to inspect. Select options. The problem, yada yada yada. The solution. Text box and remove button. Okay. Locate the blur event. So. Nope. Right. This. Right. Vent listeners. Blur. Remove. Nope. Still. Nope. Doesn't work at all. Nope. Then just now mouse. Yeah, no, that still works. Framework listeners should be all listeners on. Maybe on these. Do any of you guys know this stuff? This is driving me crazy. There's no blur event here. There's no blur event here. But the moment I click away, it closes. And all of this is super old stuff. And also doesn't seem to work. Oh, don't you dare. Bugger off, holy crap. Yeah, so this is absolutely nothing to do with my search query. Thanks, Google. You remember when Google used to show you the stuff you're looking for? Those were the days, eh? So, can I do... But this is a diff, this is not a native element. And I'm not about to re-implement this as a non-native thing. Can I do this? Can I say break on subtree modifications? So if I do this... Nope. It doesn't actually modify the subtree. Oh dear, how do I... disappearing element in Chrome. Select native, select options element. This is just terrible. Stuff like that I shouldn't have to waste any time on, really. Alright, screw it. Enough time wasted. I mean, I can probably just force it by setting all the styles. It's just really annoying because I've done it. It's just the inspector is so bad that there's no way for me to find out how I did it, which seems to be kind of its job. Like we have these, right? Select item, select. And the weird thing is, I don't know if the styling on this is actually the style that would be used for when it's open, right? Because here, for example, we say font size 1.2. But it doesn't affect this, which is the options element, right? It affects the select element. So the thing that's shown here is actually a option element. What's opening in this dropdown isn't any of that. It's something else that I have no access to. Maybe something related to these slots. In fact, you see nothing is changing here, right? Wait, how do I even style this? Style, select, option, drop down, font size. Jesus. But it's not like, how do I see it in the inspector? That's what I'd like to know. I know that I'm using something. It doesn't matter what I'm using. It should still show me here in the list of styles, right? But this font size, whatever this is, which is definitely not 1.2 RAM, right? Because this is 1.2 RAM. This is like 3 times the size. So it's 3.6 RAM or some other relative size. But it's not showing me that, right? And there's nothing here in the DOM that actually represents the object. So I can't click on anything to find out what the styling is. Because it's not this. It's not 1.2. Because this is 1.2. This is not 1.2. So for example, if I change this to 0.2, right? It's still big. So this does not affect that, right? Oh my god. Is this really 2022? Is this really 22? Like, is this not something that should just now work these days? You know what I mean? If I do this, right? It's still big. These are still freaking big. Doesn't matter, you know, how important I think this is. Oh, maybe it does work. Okay, now the problem is that's still not 1.2 RAM, right? So 0.2 made it really small, but not the other sizes. So this is 0.5 and this is 1.2. That's not right. That's not right. That's bollocks. That is absolutely not correct. So something is really screwy here. CSS select option font size is not correct. It's 2022. Like, we have all these styling options. We should be able to style all these things. Why is the font size different? Now, select drop-down things won't accept styles, but there's a size parameter in the tag. Almost any CSS will apply. With this in mind, I've created a still practically equivalent of normal select tag. What? Select. On-click this closest find input. Selected option, selected text. Slide toggle. How sounds a tags option element? Value white, blue, green. Under set a style option select drop down. Google Chrome, it works in all browsers. Background color, font size. Without using Java, is there a way to select here? Unfortunately, browsers do not start tags yet, except for color and background color. But this is not true because I can modify the font size here quite clearly. But you don't understand. If it wasn't stylable, that would be fine. But it is stylable. It's just nonsensical. You see, it's smaller now because I made it 0.5. Let's make it 1.2. What size is it as 1.2 rem? Oh, wait. It is not twice the size it was before. It's much, much, much bigger. This is not 1.2 relative units, right? That's what my problem is. And it's not telling me what it's actually overriding. Because according to this, it's already inheriting the size 1.2. But it's not correct. This is just... Okay, I'm wasting time on something that really, 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 really does not matter. I'm just gonna do something that sort of vaguely looks somewhat interesting. See if on mobile emulation it still makes sense. Yeah, you see on mobile emulation suddenly it's super small. So I have to be super careful because I might actually make it completely unusable, right? So I think the important thing is, let me check something quickly. These buttons I think are 1 point something RAM. Ah, no, they're 4 RAM, right? So if we make this 4 RAM and make this 1.2 RAM, something like that. So for example, line height on this is completely ignored. If I do this, it'll be like that. If I do 1.2, 1.2, if I do this, then it'll be smaller. So a 1.2 rem item cannot include a 1.2 rems text. Yay. Let's make it double size. That should at least center the text within it. And then margin. So if it's supposed to fill up a space of 1.6, 0.8 rem 0. Or actually, let's just do it all around, right? See what happens. The width is not... This is absolutely nonsensical. Because it's supposed to fill in the space, right? Now we know this is 12 rem wide. So if I make it width... what if I do it just like this? Top 0.8 rem, bottom 0.8 rem, and left, right. Infuriating. You know, as somebody who's done this for so many years, that simple things like that are still so painful. Now the problem is, this is not relative to its parent, it's relative to its parent's parent, because, you know, that makes more sense, right? What if I don't, if I just use this for right and bottom? If I do this, right? And left. Now, I don't like that the 3D line disappears. The bottom of the 3D line disappears. You see that? Why? Or not the 3D line, the border. In some sizes, the border just disappears. Is it because of the line height? I'm not sure. I really don't like this. I don't like having this ugly text in here. And let's change this text to be somewhat more useful. So, center and edge. If I do this, super explicit, center only, edge only, center and edge. Okay. And if I leave and come back, puts the element back. But did I remove the element for the letter tool? So on disable, I'm removing these, right? So unhandle exit. Now I'm just really dragging something out that should have been finished a while ago. We'll do document.query selector. At least I think we're very close to having something releasable, at least for testing. So if I go here and then go here, we get this, and I think that's the only thing we're creating, right? So let yada yada yada, let select I think it's actually easier if I just do this. For each let remove, and that should remove those. Go here, leave, go here, leave, go here, leave. Okay. Of course, now we have another piece of state we have to handle, which is going to be a little bit of a pain in the butt. So, yeah, there's an undo issue with our repeat undo, where on Mac, if you release Control Z, so let's see, if I press Control Z, and it starts undoing, and I release, yeah. But if you do Command Z and then release the Z, wait, this occurs up-to-date Chrome, if I remember. Does not occur in up-to-date Firefox on Windows 10. Yeah. So apparently releasing Z on Mac doesn't stop the undo. But I have to look at that with a fresh brain. So we need to do a what did I call it? Line type. We have a mode variable already. No. Let's call it line mode. Pen line mode. Pen line mode. This is not type. Label block. That's really not needed. Line mode equals 0. And then the handler would be on change console log and think something like that, right? Boom, boom, boom. Nope. It's not change. Wait, handle unchange, handle unchange. I completely, I'm blanking on event handlers here. Handle, handler, no. Handler. Select. Multi-select, text content value options, multi, handler, handler, change. I think select isn't getting handled by this thing at all. All right. Handle line mode change. And I wonder if the time I'm spending on this, is that like a fair amount of time? 2 full streams, let's say 6 hours in total for a feature like that. Does that make sense? Is that too much? Am I too slow? Should this bit take me an hour? Or is that you know, 2 sessions with reviews, with some cleanup and all that stuff. I sometimes wonder about these things. Let mode line mode. Let's just call it done. I don't care. Row doing that. It's fine. I think we might have to bind this as well. Event select. Event select. I think this is a on-click handler, so we don't want that. Yada yada yada. So binding doesn't happen automatically for this, so we'll have to do this. Bind handlers. This. I think that should do the trick, though. Wait, no. Bind handlers. Bind handlers. Ah, yeah. Oh, this is so annoying because this. No. No. Bind handlers should work like this, isn't it? Where are we at here? Init handle tool handler. So init this dot handle mode change after bind handlers and before this. Bind handlers. Bind handlers. Bind handlers. Object. Get property off. Get prototype off. It's. I think this works only on classes. But I think I've forced this to work on something else before. No. But here I'm not actually executing it on the class. I'm executing it on the instance. Handle. Selector. Handle. Handle line mode change. All right. Let's just do this. They're not different, but now at least we have access to this here correctly. So get rid of all that again and go back to here. Don't think we need that anymore. We need that. And now, yeah, UI work is terrible, but I can't shirk it because having a good UI is kind of the selling point of this app. So yeah, because they default to number 1, color number 1. That's why I shuffled it around like that. Let's sort this out. So line mode change this event target. Line mode change event target shouldn't. If I do this, what do I get? Value both option yada yada yada. If I get event.target, so it looks like we only have one argument here anyway. Event, and then Something like that. Boom. HTML select, get selected. God damn it. Look at everything. It's been so long since I've done just really low basic stuff. Value, not selected. Value. That makes more sense. All right. Value, center only. Perfect. Okay. All right. And we want to do... We want this to actually be both. And then, how do we set selected? MDN select. Attributes, disabled form, name required. Put select option. Value selected if present display attribute. Okay. So selected this dot line mode equals both. And now I want to rewrite this. I hate repetition so much. So I can't let myself repeat all this. Even though I probably should just cut and paste. No, you know what? I'm listening to myself. I should just cut and paste this 3 times. Yes, it's repeating a couple of characters, but it's going to waste so much less time. Because I could just put these into an array, loop through it, yada, 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 but, you know, probably not the right option right now. Okay. So, line mode. It's wrong so many different ways. Hi, guys. So, we're starting up. Line mode is both. Let's start up in line mode edge only and see if that makes a difference. Edge only. Excellent. Now we change it, and the new line mode should be center only. So let's make sure that's actually the case. This dot line mode equals boom. All right, so edge only, center and edge. The GIS is not defined. All right, that's fair enough. Center only, center and edge, and we'll do the same thing with saving the thingamajigs. Little 2 buttons, set select color. This line mode change, set data to line mode, line mode, and then handle tool enter. This dot line mode equals that. Started off with both as default. This becomes get data like that. All right. Line mode, no. Edge only. Refresh. Edge only. Center only. Refresh. Center only. Sweet. Okay. Let's move on. Now let's actually pay attention to the line mode. I haven't actually thought about that functionality, so that's going to be a little bit trickier. So it's only going to affect the dragging of lines. Ah, my ankle. I've sprained my ankle a couple weeks ago and it's still stinging badly sometimes. So, somewhere along the lines here, we're doing a bunch of fuffing about to decide which kind of line we're drawing. So, if let forced is center line, why do we have forced center lines? Why don't we have forced edge lines? If line type and line type center is forced as center line. Okay. So line type. Where do we decide what's the line? Center line, center. If is line type equals edge, edge, edge. Line type forced. Because it's actually it's figuring it out here, isn't it? If line type is center. Forced is center line. If line type is not center, this would be false. Okay, so let's just I'll put that here like that, and I'll put it again over here. So let's reset everything. So going around the middle, edge false, center true. So now center is true. And if I do this, edge is true. Now I'm not sure where this comes into it. But we basically should be able to do a check here. If this dot line mode equals edge only, then this dot line type equals edge, right? And if it's center only, it's center. Hey Shelby, how are you doing? Welcome to the stream. Don't watch what happened before, because I spent a lot of time just struggling. Okay, so yeah. So right now it's center only. And it should still work correctly. Now if I go to edge only, alright. Yeah, that seems to work. And if I go center and edge, yeah, okay, that seems to work. I was wondering if I needed to do something down here. So if I go center only, and I go along the edges, it always ends up... Wait. Ah, yeah, center only. Even if I go along the edges, it always ends up as center. So if line type is set ahead of time... What I don't understand is where I thought line type is being determined here. Get edge center line is forced is center. So I think it means forced is center line is always being set here. Is line type being set to undefined somewhere? Line reset. Ah, okay. Ah, okay. So that means that should be all we need to do for that, which would be very nice. So that's in here. Yeah, it's fine. I'm almost tempted to put that into here. Line reset. Handle drag start, line reset. Yeah, it might make more sense to put it here. All right. So, edge and center. Yeah. Now center only. So now I won't be able to erase those at all. Okay. And now edge only. So now I can't touch those blue lines anymore. But I can draw the other ones. All right. I think that's kind of what we had in mind. Now, this, I don't know, this might, now I'm thinking about it, maybe that should actually be in here, not in the tool. What do you think, Mark? Because it's, maybe it should be in settings. Maybe it doesn't belong here, you know? I don't even know why I didn't think of that. So it might be like a subtype, kind of like the literal hotkey setting, you know? Like, I can't think of any situation where you ever want to toggle between them quickly. The only time I can think of one. The one case would be if you have a phone and you're struggling to get the line you want, and you're in a puzzle where you actually use both lines. But the idea, it's very rare, I think, where you have a puzzle where you would use both lines. So it always makes sense to change it once and then just leave it at that. So the question now is, do I have any old puzzles with lines drawn that I can open to check if anything breaks? I'm trying to think how easy it will be for me to create a test case. Because one of the problems right now is that it won't split the existing states properly. I want to say. I mean, I don't consider it a big deal if people lose their line progress when updating the version. Because, like, you're not going to update the version in the middle of play very often. The question is, will it break on old replays, right? Right now, I think it'll break. No, wait. No, it won't break. It won't break on replays. It only will break on state. The state isn't compatible, but the state is only used temporarily. While, like, when you're refreshing, all the state gets wiped. Right, Mark? Can you think of any reason why this should break backwards compatibility with ongoing puzzles in people's browsers? I don't think so, right? Because the way we're implementing the pen tool in the action list, which is the only thing that's stored, and in fact, let me double check, because I think I'm storing state in the SudokuPad mobile app to cache it mostly for the thumbnails and stuff. But in the browser one, I don't do that. I think in the browser one, it's purely the action list, right? All right, so we've added the pen colors here, but we've also added them here. So we can actually remove them from here now. Ah, wait, we have removed them from here. We'll just save the file. All right. We can do this. Okay, I'd rather not change that right now. That's actually good. So we've added the colors. We might want to clean up any blocks of stuff that we remove. Ah, wait. Before I remove this. If I get rid of this, just to have that rounded border outline. It's a bit of an odd way of doing it, but it'll do the trick. Or can I just add it? Can I just add it to this one here? What if I just add this to here? Oh, wait. This might actually... No, actually, I like it. I'll leave it like this. Okay, that's fine. It's maybe in the future we'll go back to it and change it, but for today, I think this is fine. So what else did we change? We changed... Yeah, we got rid of all these things now. We updated some things in script. So we're passing the class through now. And this is something we probably want to review a little bit more carefully. So we've changed the way we're doing the coloring. We don't actually pass... So in fact, we want to get rid of all of these now. Like that. Oh. Did I not? I'm pretty sure I strong dragged. Oh. Only on the pen hint ones. Yeah, I think we can do this better. I think everything inside here actually should have these. So that's an ID, cell N, and every path in here should have these properties. And what did I just delete? Stroke width 5 by default. Right? Oh. I don't think I had it like that before, but I actually like it better. Oh, wait. No, I didn't have it like that. And it's not better. Sec. One, two, edge X right, stroke width. So we probably want to overwrite. Probably want to do something like class name plus edge X, something like that, right? If I do this, now some of these should have edge X on them. And we're looking for pen. Ah, wait. Yeah, no, we already have these. Okay. So we can actually, we don't need this at all. This would be a friendlier way of doing it. But we have those, right? So we can do cell path, cell pen dot pen 3. Nope, not E. 3. And pen dash 4. And we have stroke width 1.5. There we go. And then we can do the same thing for like that. No commas here. So 3 and 4 and B and C. 3, 4, B, C. Okay. Any other? So then we don't need these anymore. Any other extra special stuff here? No, just those two. And the hint line now aren't enlarged anymore. So pen hint. Yeah, because of the specificity. Yeah, it's so annoying. I think we can actually get rid of these. Ooh. Wait. Can I get rid of all of them? Cell pen. Yes, I can. I hate having to use IDs, but it's like the system sometimes. God damn it. The specificity system sometimes is really not correct. I think they made a bit of a snafu there. So dot cell dash pen. We already have so many classes, so this should work better. Ooh. Fill none. Fill none. Yeah, something here. Stroke width 5. Dot cell pen. I think pen hint doesn't have dot cell pen class assigned to it. Alright, that's fine. We'll just put that back here. That's fine. That's fine. Alright, I can live with this. And then we got rid of all the styling in here. Roll call, yada yada yada. And if I look at them, yes, they have a bunch of extra colors here, extra styles, but it's not too bad. Yeah. I think that works. B, C in the middle of the grid. I thought they were only left on top edge. B? Why are B and C in the middle of the grid? Yeah, I like the fat X a little bit, but remember, it's also in the context of other things being on the board. So we don't want to... You know, let's see if we make it a little bit bigger. Maybe like this. Why are B and C in the middle of the grid? In the middle of the grid. I'm not sure what you mean in the middle of the grid. Middle of the grid. I thought they were only left and top edge. No, we have left, top, bottom, and right. Remember we added that to be able to address all outer edges as well. Pen B and C. It's left and top. So that's this one and this one. And then the other two are these and these. That's the ones we've added. Not sure why you're saying they're in the middle of the grid. They're not in the middle of the grid. What do you mean by middle of the grid? I think there's a bit of a delay on the thing, so I'm gonna continue cleaning some stuff up here. Oh yeah, we added the create state and apply state. That's almost a change I would like to do separately, but I don't feel like going back now because it's a bit of a fuffing about with Git to get that working. So 1780. All right, apply state. Now this is something I don't super like, the fact that I have to reach from the puzzle object to the app to the tool, do stuff. So in the future, I'd like the tools themselves to be able to inject actions. Again, this is another generic thing that I almost would like to have a separate change. Ooh, we definitely want to change that back. I'm wondering if I should at least put them into a separate commit. But it's actually not really a big deal. So we got rid of some of this stuff. This. Yeah, so there's one issue here is what happens to a pen replay when the pen tool isn't engaged? That's one of the issues I have. But this is actually not a replay question here. Toggle pen, well, yeah, because an action, a pen action could cause a toggle pen, but the pen tool might not currently be loaded, right? And in fact, we can test this by, you know, unloading the pen tool. The thing is, unloading isn't in, yeah. In fact, here we go. 4569. 4569. Get last state actions. 1966. Actions. General properties of undefined reading actions. Why is it reading a state stack when we're refreshing? Where does undefined get into the state stack here? Who pushed undefined onto the state stack? Which idiot did that? Mark, I'd appreciate it if you could let me know what you mean by pen B and C. I don't see the problem. I don't understand what you're trying to say. You're set in the middle of the grid. There's nothing in the middle of the grid. Otherwise, I'm gonna be wondering about this for the next 3 days. Get last state's actions. Log undo act. Act next step. Push. Oh, it means create state. Returned undefined. I'm almost wanting to do an object.assign. Create state. Is it hitting our create state over here? Ooh, somebody needs banning here. Can I ban them from here? Yeah. But I might have to block them from here as well. Timeout, mod, ban. Boom. Alright. I hope that removes the message as well. All right. Let me just. What was I doing? Handle. Drag and handle create state. Handle apply state. So I think what's happening here is event forwarding here doesn't do a pass through if it comes back as undefined. Basically, it doesn't pass through the argument when there's no thing happening. Apply state. Is that on forward state? Yeah, I think instead of doing an assignment here, we're just going to do that. And then it's up to these guys to actually not return a new object, but to literally set that. I know that's not... in fact, the object assigned will do the same thing, right? We just don't need to return it. So if we do this, it'll work. Now, if we re-enable the tool, and now go ham with colors, I think the replay will not work with colors. Because the color functionality isn't in the core code, right? So you need the pen tool to replay pen tool data. So we got a pen tool, right? If I disable the pen tool, and now refresh, we won't get colors because the color is managed by the pen tool. To be honest, there's no way around that. Because in the future, if the tool handles because right before, basically, the pen tool enabling or code was just the UI really, but the functionality was already in core. But if I want to pull the functionalities out of core, then you cannot expect the replay. In fact, in the future, the lines won't even appear because the line rendering will be part of the tool itself as well. And I think that's acceptable. I don't think there should be any expectation to be able to... The only thing we might want to do is, in the future, to mark the replay with what tools were used in them. So then that the replay can say, hey, this replay requires these tools to be enabled. Do you want to enable them right now? Something like that, you know? Kind of like versioning, but more automatic. Less confusing to the user. So we got rid of this. So we actually simplified this line rendering stuff a little bit. Now we need to remove some more debugging code. 6.8. It's thick. Was broken. So this one we got rid of. This is new functionality. That's the new functionality. So there's actually very little now related to the pen. This is all generic stuff. Oh, yeah, we gotta clean that up as well. Huh? Yep. I'm just winding down. All right. Got 5 more minutes to clean it all up. Then I have to vacate because this turns into a dining area. To have my own office, that would be so nice. One day. When I have more patrons. All right, so we have state color, selected color. We have a line mode now. They're all persisted. We wanna get rid of some more of this commented out stuff. This, I still don't know if that's still valid, so I'm not gonna touch that. I think that might be cleaned up now, so I might remove that eventually. This, I think, works. So we've added everything from here. And I think that's okay to recreate this element every time we switch to the tool. It's not too big of a deal. 1 sec, let me change. Okay, re-enable this and then refresh. The colors. So the colors are still in the replay, obviously. Yeah, that works fine. All right. I like the fat line, actually. But I'll have to test it on mobile now to make sure it still makes sense. I think the delete color is okay. I'm okay with changing colors like this. That you just have to draw something new. Even the selection styling I'm okay with. Might need some tuning. There should be a difference between tool visible and available. Well, not really. Because it's kind of more like versioning, right? I mean, right now I don't have a mechanism for people importing tools from external code. But ideally, the replay would still work, right? It would just skip over those actions, especially with if those actions are grouped, and it can skip over them as a group. You know, if the rendering code is part of the tool, then it just won't render the lines, but everything else would still work from the replay. And then just a warning to the user that that's how it's going to be, right? So the question now is, can we combine these colors? I guess so. Oh, Simon's gonna have a field day kind of mixing colored lines and colored cells. Oh my, what a mess, what a mess. All right, I think though, in the grand scheme of things, it looks pretty. This is actually, if I draw across like that. Whoops. Because diagonal lines overlap, right? This and this, one is edge, one is corner to corner. But they're actually aligning, right? You can draw them attached to each other. So you can do some strange things. Anyway, I think it's in a fairly good state. I'm gonna have another look through it. And then I'm gonna wrap it up and commit it and publish it to testing. Maybe tomorrow. But I like it as a sort of minor-ish feature. I mean, it's not too small, but it's not too big. But it definitely needs a bunch of testing because there could be some unforeseen backwards compatibility things, especially in terms of replay compatibility and all that stuff. But that's it for me. I gotta get going. Thank you very much for hanging out, Mark, and thanks for stopping by, Shelby. And who else stopped by? Jovanto, thanks for stopping by. Oh, and by the way, Bremster did an awesome video of one of my birthday puzzles. I can't watch it yet because I haven't done the puzzle yet. So maybe I'll play that puzzle as a test puzzle, maybe in a stream very soon. Because I'd like to see Bremster's video. It was very kind of him to do that. Yeah, and it's a good warm up for the big macro stuff that's coming up because I'm gonna have a meeting with Simon Mark in the next couple of weeks, touch base because they obviously have moved ahead working with Studio Goya to do a lot of the things I've been wanting to do with them. So heat is on now. Looks like I'm gonna be competing with them. We'll see how it goes. All right, thanks everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Take care, and I'll see you guys.